My name is Commander Matt Topol, and I'm the Investigative Commander in the Western District. This annual service is in conjunction with state and national recognition of the sacrifices made by police officers who have been killed in the line of duty. This week was proclaimed National Law Enforcement Week in 1962 by President John F. Kennedy. At this time, we'd like to extend a special welcome to the family of St. Paul police officers who have died in the line of duty. Those family members present, please stand if you're able and be recognized. Present today are the family members of Officer Daniel O'Connell, Calbert Leadham, Alfred Sandquist, James T. Sackett Sr., John H. Larson, John J. O'Brien, Ronald M. Ryan Jr., Timothy J. Jones, and Gerald D. Vick. Our keynote speaker today is Brigadier General Neil Lloydel, Director of the Joint Staff, Minnesota National Guard. From the St. Paul Police Chaplains Program, we have Chaplain Chick Chikelis. Seated are our city's elected officials, including the Honorable Mayor Christopher Coleman and City Council members Melvin Carter III, Dave Thune, Chris Tolbert, Russ Stark, Amy Brendmoen, Dan Bostrom, and Council President Kathy Lantry. On behalf of the St. Paul Police Department, we have with us Chief Thomas Smith. Representing the St. Paul Fire Department, we have Chief Tim Butler and his administrative staff. And on behalf of the Ramsey County Sheriff's Department, we have Sheriff Matt Bostrom and his administrative staff. Also present today is the Commissioner of Public Safety, Mona Dolman. We would now like to acknowledge the presence of past award recipients of the Department Medal of Valor and the Department Medal of Merit. Those of you who have received either medal, please raise your hand so you may be recognized for your bravery and meritorious service. In his 6 years as mayor, Chris Coleman has been a strong advocate for police, fire, and emergency management services, committed to building world-class departments that set the standard for service to residents and community. Mayor Coleman continues to invest in emergency personnel and training, as well as improve technology to assist them in keeping our communities safe. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Mayor Christopher Coleman.
Thank you, Commander. Chief Smith, Brigadier General, Commander Topol, all that have gathered here today on this beautiful, beautiful May Day to remember times of great sadness in the city of St. Paul. I welcome you to this event. On behalf of the City Council, all those that work for the city of St. Paul, and the nearly 400,000 residents of this beautiful city, we say to the men and women of the department, thank you for your service. For those of you that have given the ultimate sacrifice, we remember you, we pray for your families, and we will never forget. In a few moments, the bell will ring 31 times. And each toll of the bell will remind us of a moment when the city was diminished, when we became less of a city because of the loss of one of our heroes. We're reminded of 31 times where families were changed forever, where lives were interrupted, and the ultimate sacrifice was paid. We gather here to support the families Many of you who I've gotten to know over the years, and I consider friends. I may only see you once a year at this particular event, or I may see you on the streets throughout the city of St. Paul. But though we only gather once formally a year, please know that every day of the year we honor the sacrifice of your heroes, of your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, all those that have sacrificed, particularly for the parents. We never ever forget that your sons have given their lives on behalf of the residents of the city of St. Paul. Each toll of the bell reminds us of a horrible moment. But I hope that each toll of the bell also reminds you that we stand with you as a community, that we love and honor your family, your officers, and everyone who has served in this valiant department. We're incredibly blessed in the city of St. Paul because we truly do have one of the greatest departments in the entire country. I'm convinced of that every day. The leadership of the chief, the leadership of your commanders, of all those that dress every day in the blue of the city of St. Paul uniform. You give so much, you risk so much, but because of your sacrifice, we are the city that we are. Without you, we're nothing. Without you, we have no vibrant community. Unless you're willing to sacrifice, St. Paul can't be the community we get to call home that we're so proud of. I'm honored by your service. I'm glad that we gather today to remember the ultimate sacrifice that was paid by so many. But never ever forget, you're not alone. Never ever forget that we deeply appreciate everything that has been done by your heroes, by your family members, by those that we call friend, by those that served in the city of St. Paul. Thank you so much. We always stand with you.
Thank you and good afternoon. And I just want to take 1 second to thank all the officials and the mayor and many of our brothers and sisters in law enforcement from the Sheriff's Department. I've seen officers from Minneapolis and other departments back here with their proud canines. They're here for a reason. They're here for all the families that are here that we are honoring today, along with our fallen officers. As Commander Topel said, John F. Kennedy in 1962 worked with Congress to establish this week that we affectionately know as National Police Memorial Week. In St. Paul, just as was the case with our brothers and sisters across the country, our department had felt the loss for more than 80 years when in 1882 we lost one of our own in the line of duty, Daniel O'Connell. And now, nearly 50 years after the initial proclamation, I stand with you today, along with the proud members of the St. Paul Police Department, our community at large, and also our fellow brothers and sisters in law enforcement, to pay honor and tribute to the 31 members of the St. Paul Police Department who have given the ultimate sacrifice. You know, taking the oath of office as a police officer comes with many inherent risks. It means being courageous during dangerous encounters, taking care of your fellow officers in the most stressful of situations, and most importantly, always protecting the public that we serve. It's not part of our job we often think about, not being able to come home to our loved ones when our shifts are over. But it is one responsibility that each one of the men and women accept to protect this great city. Today we are here to pay tribute not only to our fallen officers, but most importantly to pay tribute to their families who year after year, rain or shine, young or old, come to honor their loved ones who so proudly served our city. In fact, it is your day for us to honor you and the great sacrifices each of you have had to bear. To all of our family members present, please know that each and every man and woman standing here in blue and brown today are here to pay tribute and honor to each one of you. We are here to continue our tradition of honoring the officers who have sacrificed their lives to ensure the safety of our city. We have done so for the past 50 years, and I can tell you, we're going to continue to do it for the next 50 years and beyond. Many of you have come to this ceremony for a very long time. whether it's spouses, grandparents, aunts and uncles, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and in some cases, my friends, great-great-grandchildren. We are blessed by your presence each and every single year. It is what sets this department aside from all others and helps all of us to keep the memories alive for those who have served before us. I ask only one small favor from our families. Please continue to pass on the legacy of honoring your loved ones for generations to come, because we should never forget those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. I want to tell you one quick story before I turn the podium over about police officers in general, and this is true. We truly are here to honor all the family members that are here today. It's something that's very important to all of us that are here. But we're a funny bunch as police officers. Truly, we never forget when we lose one of our own. We lose a small part of ourselves as well. About a week and a half ago, I was driving in a car with my wife going to an event, and all of a sudden it had hit me that 7 years from that day, my good friend Jerry Vick had lost his life. He was a classmate. And it just popped into my head for no reason. It's different with us. It's sights, it's sounds, it's smells, we remember things that most people don't understand. But at the same time, and I can show you it in my phone because I still have it, I received a text message almost instantaneously. It was almost amazing, from my old partner, Sergeant Guy Stanton. And I stopped the car and got out to the event I was at, and I opened up this text and it said, "I just got out of church." And you remember, it's 7 years to the date that Jerry died. We didn't script that. Nobody could have made that up. Those are the things that each one of the men and women that are standing here today to honor each one of your loved ones think about as well. And we know it's a tremendously difficult time to think about when they were taken away from you. But it is not how these officers died that made them heroes. It is how they lived. That is what's so important. We will continue these fine traditions. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for continuing to come every single year, and we are honored to have each one of you here today.
Thank you, Mayor Coleman, Commissioner Dolman, City Council members, Chief Smith, Chief Butler, Sheriff Bostrom, law enforcement professionals, friends and family. It is an honor to stand with you this year and to join you in welcoming so many great leaders, so many outstanding public servants, and proud members of Minnesota's law enforcement family. I also want to thank you and your colleagues in the St. Paul Police Department for bringing us together today to honor your fallen colleagues. Your work to ensure that their contributions and their sacrifices are never forgotten is a source of comfort and inspiration for us all. I'd like to apologize here at the outset if I appear a bit nervous. It's because I am. You see, it's a distinct honor to be invited to speak at an event like this, and one not often afforded to someone like me. And so I wrote a great speech, and I've been practicing since last week, and I arrived an hour early this morning with a bit of confidence in my step. And as I approached the podium and I met Commander Topol for the first time, he said, "I was hoping you might be a little older." So while I am a bit nervous, I do promise you that I'll give you my best here for about the next 10 minutes. More seriously, today's ceremony commemorates another year that has been distinguished by extraordinary acts of valor and selflessness, but also marked, unfortunately, by senseless and unspeakable tragedy. In the crowd gathered here, too many of our colleagues, too many of our friends, too many of your family members are missing. But both in spirit and memory, we know that they are still with us. And their examples will continue to guide and inspire our own efforts to strengthen the cause they so faithfully served, the cause of justice, which is now ours to carry forward. Throughout my life, I have been privileged to associate with many of these law enforcement heroes.
was raised in a small town on the same block as the chief of police. My cousin Frank Whippler, himself a Vietnam veteran, was the Benton County Sheriff for the better part of the 1990s. More recently, I deployed alongside the 34th Military Police Company as the Chief of Staff for the 34th Red Bull Infantry Division. And I was there when a rocket attack killed Specialist Drevnik, Wilcox, and Werdish while they were performing their duty as soldiers. The cause of justice will be led, as it always has been, by a thin blue line of heroes, a community of men and women whose courage, commitment, and daily efforts keep our communities safe and our homeland free. Every day, we are beneficiaries of their service and their willingness to stand on the front lines in Minnesota's and St. Paul's fight against crime, violence, and terrorism. Today, as we honor their work, we also pay a special tribute to these remarkable individuals. Each one of them was an important part of St. Paul's law enforcement community. We recognize and honor the 31 St. Paul police officers who were killed since the department was formed. Brave police officers who died while saving the lives of their colleagues, working to end violent disputes, disrupting acts of theft and illegal trafficking, and other untold acts of valor. I would also like to acknowledge the other 2 law enforcement officers who died in the line of duty in Minnesota in the last year. St. Louis Park Police Officer Mike Politz and Lake City Police Officer Sean Schneider. I know many of you took part in the final tribute to these great heroes. But these law enforcement professionals have given their lives in order that justice itself might live, in order that dangerous criminals might face the consequences of breaking our laws, threatening our communities, and infringing upon our rights, in order that their children and your children and my child might wake tomorrow to a little bit safer neighborhood, to a little more secure home and school, to find their futures just a little bit brighter and a little more full of promise and opportunity. As we read the names of these fallen heroes and reflect on their legacies, we are reminded that our safety and security often comes at a terrible, terrible price. And while no words, no ceremony, no salute can relieve this burden, we can and we must ensure that their sacrifices were not made in vain. How do we do this? Well, in the military, we have sadly faced this situation before, especially in the last 10 years of war, where 19 of my fellow National Guardsmen have given their lives in faraway battlefields. One of those who died was Staff Sergeant David Day, who was killed in Iraq in 2005 with 2 of his soldiers while they were carrying another fellow soldier to safety. Sergeant Day was a true citizen soldier and left his civilian job as a St. Louis Park police officer to serve his state and nation. I've come to appreciate that the values, morals, and commitment to service to others between those in the military and those that serve in law enforcement are the same. In fact, in a memorial dedication in St. Louis Park, I read the words that Sergeant Day's father wrote in tribute to his son. He said, "It is right that we pay tribute to Staff Sergeant David Day and place a memorial within this community, but not just as a reminder of a boy, of a man, a son and a husband, but that of a servant with duty, honor, and courage to those he loved dearly and those he served so bravely." In the names of those we remember today, great people like Sergeant Day, we must pledge to continue and to strengthen the work of protecting every member of our law enforcement family. We will never completely eliminate the criminal element that menaces our communities. But looking out over this crowd today, I am confident that by working together and by walking in the footsteps of those we gather to honor, we can make our streets safer and we can overcome many of the threats that law enforcement officers regularly confront. Today's ceremony and this beautiful memorial are positive and necessary reminders to a citizenry that does not always see nor always appreciate the daily sacrifice required to serve in law enforcement. And so it is fitting that we have this day, Peace Officers Memorial Day, to remind our citizens of your selfless service, but more importantly, to pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you to all of you in law enforcement for your service. And thank you again for dedicating the time to commemorate the enduring impact of those who have so bravely served St. Paul and the countless lives that they touched and enriched. The National Peace Officer Memorial in Washington, D.C. has an inscription that reads, "It's not how these officers died that made them heroes. It is how they lived." With the stories and examples of the great St. Paul police officers to guide us, let us carry on their work, and let us fulfill the promise they worked so hard to keep, the promise of security, the promise of opportunity, and justice for all. Thank you very much.
In closing, thank you for being here. It is important that we always remember our fallen officers and honor them for making the ultimate sacrifice. Also, we must remember our members of the St. Paul Police Department who are serving overseas. Sergeant James Anderson and those officers, Ku Yang and Parking Enforcement Officer Ryan Anderson, who have recently returned. Officers, thank you for the work that you do and the risks that you endure. There's a small percentage of the population that are willing to wear the uniform and risk their lives for the city, county, or country that they serve. We are those few, and we do it with pride and honor. Never forget those who have fallen.